Despite Creed 3's phenomenal build-up to its third act, the movie's climax is perhaps its greatest letdown in terms of what could have been but wasn't. The main issue is that the outstanding performance by Jonathan Majors isn't equaled in terms of the narrative threat his villain presents. Diamond Dame Anderson is obviously more of a psychological menace to Adonis than anything. That's just one of the many reasons the metaphorical cage match sequence in the final fight works so well. Damien represents more than just another tough dude to beat up. He's Adonis's guilt and regret personified. But just because you have a compellingly layered final fight doesn't mean you have to throw away any other more literal stakes. Just because you have strong internal conflict doesn't mean that external stakes can't enhance that experience. It's much better to do it this way than the other way around, but if one doesn't subtract from the other, then its exclusion does subtract from the overall experience. As it stands, Damien is a highly motivated, selfish, vengeful antagonist, but what he attacks Creed with on the inside isn't matched on the outside. His whole plan is to take back a life that he feels like Adonis owes him, so he manipulates Adonis into giving him a fighting chance to be world champ, and then he does it, and he's done. He did it. That's it. He humiliates Creed on the beach at his victory party with a bunch of friends he apparently has now, and then he presumably buys a nice house, and then Stephen A. Smith says he's been trash-talking Creed, but that's it.
I'm coming for everything.
But he didn't. He played Adonis, but he didn't take anything from him. He didn't even take the title of world champ from Creed. He took it from some guy who got it after Creed retired. Adonis is basically in the same position as the beginning. Yeah, Creed is stressed out over what Dame did, and his family life is shaky now, and that stress may have caused him to give his mother a fatal stroke, but that doesn't fall under the agency of the villain. Those are tangential events, fully under Creed's control. So blaming Damien for those would be more of a villainous act on Adonis's part. So when the time comes for the showdown against Damien, we are fighting with compelling emotion, but we're not fighting for anything. It's not like if we win, we'll get something back that Damien took, or we'll prevent Damien from doing something worse. It's not like if we lose, Damien will be unstoppable, or we'll also lose our only chance at saving something else important to us. No, we're fighting with feeling, but we're still just fighting for the sake of fighting, which is sort of the opposite of the message of the unresolved daughter subplot. You can't solve everything by punching someone in the face. Yeah, but then he goes out and does exactly that anyway. He does the exact opposite of growing past punching and rising above Damien's level. He actively seeks out a way to take out his anger physically, and then literally wins the movie by punching someone in the face. It feels almost intentional, and if it was, then the messaging got lost or was never there. Not a bingo. It's at this point that I would like to remind everyone that I actually do like this movie, and I'm just laying into it to show how a couple things might have brought it into a 90% bracket on Rotten Tomatoes. I do like this movie quite a lot. And as a result, the whole final battle, even though it's awesome, still feels a bit forced. When Adonis sits with Bianca for their heart-to-heart after his mother's funeral, Creed prefaces the final act by saying that he has to fight Dame because it's the only way he'll listen. And it's like, to what? You haven't been trying to say anything to Damien to make him change or do anything the whole movie. What do you have to gain from a fight? This "it's the only way" line isn't referencing anything. It's a red herring put in by the plot to make you think that the final act isn't mostly artificial. And that carries over into the resolution afterward. When Damien loses and he sets Creed free from his guilt prison immediately afterward, it feels pretty out of nowhere. Because the plot says it's happy ending time, so it's happy ending time. Regardless of how odd it is that the movie ultimately has Creed require the antagonist's forgiveness rather than forgive himself, or how unbelievable it is that all it took to make the highly motivated, selfish, vengeful antagonist do a 180 on his entire character was getting beaten up in front of the world by someone he hates and losing everything because of him for the second time. The whole thing feels very Karate Kid.
You're all right, LaRusso.
Creed 3 has an understandable, strong, masterfully performed villain. All it really had to do was use it. What if Damien meant what he said when he told Creed he was coming for everything? What if Damien's plan was more than just a house he never talked about and then we saw him in once? Perhaps Damien wants more than just the life Adonis owes him. Maybe he wants to take away what Adonis stole from him as well. What if after he gets the world champion title, he uses his new spotlight to shine light on Creed's past in a way that's more than just hearsay? Maybe Dame seeks out people who can corroborate his story from the night night Creed ran out on him. Maybe the bully Adonis beat up still has a wired jaw from that encounter, and Damien does everything with his new power to gather a following and turn the media against Adonis in a way we can actually see. Creed's billboards could get torn down and maybe even replaced with dames. People could back out on deals that actually make Adonis start paying attention to his millionaire lifestyle bills. Maybe Bianca starts losing deals too due to her mere connection to him. Maybe what's come to light has Amara's teachers looking at her fighting in a different light, and now they're considering removing her from the school. Maybe Damien even has his crew vandalize or trash Creed's place to put on some extra pressure, or Adonis gets straight up jumped by Damien's fans and has to box his way out. Now everywhere Adonis looks, there's a dangerous reminder of that guilt and remorse he covered up and built a career over. And the only way to make Damien stop is to prove that even if Dame got his big time shot instead of being locked away, Adonis could have taken it away anyway by defeating him. And the only way to prove that is by challenging Damien to a final fight for all the marbles. And then once we're in the ring, Damien makes it clear that now he's not just fighting to take away Creed's way of life, he's fighting to take Creed's life. Now our climax has the best of both worlds, with our hero still fighting the representation of his greatest demon, but he's doing it in order to secure the life for his family he's proving he deserves. Now the villain is internally compelling and extremely externally threatening, because after all, what are villains for?